Paradiso Africa.
Welcome to another episode on Paradiso Africa. In this episode, we're here at the Cape Coast Castle in Ghana, one of the oldest and the most renowned slave castle, slave dungeon in West Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa. This is Cape Coast Castle, the slave dungeon. We'll be hearing the history.
This castle is one of over 30 historic military structures standing along Ghana's coast. The first was built at Elmina, 12 kilometers west of here, in 1482.
Portuguese built a fort at Badagry in Calabar in Nigeria. That was why they named that section Slave Coast. Hours ago, it was because of abundance of gold here, La Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. Every 17th of October, the Anglicans do come here to commemorate his death. Let's see the three. Letitia Elizabeth London, wife of McLean, she came to say hello, my dear husband, I miss you. Only to see that McLean had another woman. Letitia felt insecure. 2 months later, she was found dead in one of the...
This was where McLean's wife was found dead. She was found with a bottle of acid in her hand.
It used to be a sad story. It used to be the pains of yesterday, the sadness of yesterday. Today is a story of liberation. It's a story of freedom. Africa is freedom. Freedom is Africa.
European description of Cape Coast. The name derives from the Portuguese Cabo Corso, for short Cape, referred to the African settlement and market that existed here, just inland.
A ball from this cannot move 500 meters at short, 1,000 meters from the bigger one.
Yeah, this land went through 5 hands. The Portuguese were here on the left, the Swiss took over on the left, the Danish, the Dutch, the English, they were the last European nation to occupy. So they knew that if they were not protected enough, then another European nation could counter-plant them. So what they did was to plant these weapons here in times of war. They put gunpowder into the mouth, they added some of the balls. Some of the balls already have holes, so they pour gunpowder into them. They insert them, there was a whole year, there was blood and action. These things had wheels of the times of the roll to generate that force. Would then release the balls. The balls would hit the ship, create holes in the ship so the ships will sink.
To ward off pirate enemies. So the English established this to defend their interests, getting enough gold from your soil. No other European country should have been getting. And therefore this was not targeting the blacks.
This is another historical site, same sad story. We can't say it enough, but we hope that we learn from our mistakes.
Accra became champion as the capital of Ghana. First it was Cape Coast, just as Lagos down Abuja, Nigeria. Similar thing here. So then we ended at the Palava Hall where the buying and selling of the enslaved Africans officially took place. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the third and the last slave castle in Ghana. However, this piece of land changed hands from Portuguese, Swedish, Danes, Dutch, and English. How many countries? 5. English built the castle labored by us. But the English had to overcome the Dutch before they obtained the land. Dutch overcame the Danes. So when the Danes were defeated, they moved to Accra and built the Osu Castle. The original name Christianborg, 1661, after the monarch of Denmark. 1661, Christianborg they call it. Danish had fought the Swedish, same spot. So many scholars believe that the other side, the foundation over there, was the handiwork of the Swedes. Because they had abandoned land over here by the Portuguese. So Portuguese, when they settled here, they named the area Cabo Corso to mean short cape. Meanwhile, Portuguese were in Elmina after 1482. 1559 they came here, wanted to add this area to Elmina as their trading post. So when the Dutch fought them in Elmina in 1637, if a whole castle, okay, madam, you've lost it to your opponent, what was the wooden structure here for you?
Nothing.
That was why Portuguese abandoned the area, because the bigger castles, they were no more in possession. So they left for Angola, Mozambique, Equatorial Guinea, Kenya, where they built a whole slave dungeon named after Jesus Christ. So if you want to find Fort Jesus, you go to Kenya, Mombasa. So the Swedish took over, made the wooden structure bricks, Karlsberg, the honor of King Charles III of Sweden. Then the Danes took over, then the Dutch, and finally English. So English made it what it is today. Labor by the blacks. That's why we say Cape Coast Castle, English, 1664-65. So the premier castle in Ghana is the St. George's the Lastillo de Minor Castle, popularly known as the Elmina Castle, 1482. Christian boy in the crowd. And all these foreign castles, UNESCO said they are in their portfolio as World Heritage Sites in 1979. Did you come by the Accra Road? Did you?
Yeah.
30 minutes before you arrive in Cape Coast, did you see a small castle on top of a hill to the left side?
Amsterdam Fort.
Fort what?
Fort Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, good. That fort you saw is 33 years older than this castle.
Looking through this window, we can see a structure built on top of the hill. Do you see that? On the hill. Yeah, we call that Fort William, which was built by the English to protect the castle. In the daytime, they show mirror to the sun, reflection of light. Light travels in a straight line. Yeah, at night they wave red flag or anything red to signify danger. So they know something is going to happen in the lake area.
No, go further. You see the fort on the hill? In a small castle. So soldiers there use flags and light to signal here that the enemy is coming from land or from sea.
You see?
1631, and it's English. Something English built. Why do you call it Amsterdam? Because anything Amsterdam is Dutch. Right?
Yes.
Because the Dutch.
Fought the English and took over.
English had earlier on fought the Dutch here. The same English fought the Dutch in New Amsterdam. Now New York, USA. During the Anglo-Dutch War. So it was 2-0 here and then New Amsterdam. For the third time, the Dutch said, no, this time we'll win. And they defeated the English. So the original name of the fort was York. And that suggests to say, if my New Amsterdam is your New York, then your Fort York will also be renamed Amsterdam. I hope today the Dutch, English are friends. Those days, landline, don't cross carpet at all. Portuguese were the people who named our land Gold Coast, La Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. Togo, Benin, Nigeria, part of Cameroon was slave coasts. But that was the angle they had their slaves first, even before they started taking slaves in Elmina Castle. But because the Portuguese didn't know Kumasi, Sunyani, and the rest, like in Lagos is coastal area, right? Mm-hmm. Now the Portuguese didn't know Abuja, so they had to partner the African and ties in with the gunpowder, so innocent people will be brought to them to go and work harder for them in America and Caribbean. So that was how I informed.
At this point, we were ushered into a cell where slaves were being condemned. Slaves that stood up for their rights. Slaves that fought against the slave masters. They are kept in this cell until they lose their last breath. There's no ventilation, no lights, no toilet. They do everything they need to do in there. They poo, they pee in there. no food, nothing. The only little opening which you see up there is meant to check who is dead, and they would use other slaves to bring out the dead bodies. This is really sad. All for the fight for freedom.
We need to celebrate each and every one of them who survived the journey. As I said earlier, 4 people in the room today, we see they are overcrowded. Look at the body temperature. Our ancestors were stronger than us physically. Will you share with me?
Yeah.
Why were they stronger than us? Agana, any idea? Why were our ancestors stronger than us?
They had to be.
They had to be for a reason. Okay? Why were they? Our ancestors are strong.
Organic food.
Organic food in all that. The food. From farm fire straight to stomach. Farm water straight to stomach. No refrigerator, microwave. That is all. God created us the same way, but they were stronger physically than us, and they exercised a lot. From Tamale to this area, it's about 580 kilometers walking. And this is urbanization. We walk 2 kilometers. We are panting.
My leg is bending me.
We are panting. We are not as strong as them. 8 p.m. you are eating Indomie and you want to be strong.
Imagine 400 females and 600 males, respectively, in different enclosed cells without cross ventilation. You can imagine how strong our ancestors were to have survived such a terrible and horrible condition.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the tunnel.
Okay, here there's nothing.
From where we saw the shrine. Do you get it? Huh? Therefore, do you get it? So from where we saw the temple, you walk through the tunnel like this. Like that. And this was the initial door of glory. So out this way. Women will come from there, and this is not the female that join the men here. So they go to the ship and not the one. Later they closed the side because of the sea. Anytime the sea was very wrong, the waves came and disturbed them here and there. And before the men and the women were confined to their respective dungeons, rod from fire, oil. You will be branded. Company A, B, C, D bought you. Yeah. Now the ship from England arrived. Company B says everyone in the dungeon belongs to them. How will A, C, and B feel? Will we accept it?
I don't think that's the person.
No lessons. Let's see the female punishment.
This is the door of return. Same door our ancestors passed through and never returned home.
So in 1992, the Ghana National House of Chiefs joined the first Pan-African Historical Festival. They came to say sorry for their selfishness, for being greedy and so ignorant that they could give their own brothers and children out in exchange for guns, gunpowder, to the
It is time to return home to build the motherland.
Watching Paradiso Africa.
Africans, we are liberated. Wake up, wake up, wake up.